Friendship isn't measured by the number of years you've known someone or the words you say. It's measured by the depth of your presence in their life. Too often we assume that just because we have people in our lives, friends from childhood, colleagues, or even family members, we automatically qualify as good friends. But being a good friend isn't about knowing someone for a long time. It's about showing up consistently in the moments that matter. Think about the times when life has tested you. Maybe you went through a breakup, lost a job, or experienced something deeply painful. Who was there? Not just the people who sent a "let me know if you need anything" text, but the ones who actually showed up, sat next to you, and said, "I'm here." Those are the people we remember because they remind us that friendship isn't just about words, it's about action. Now, flip the question, have you been that person for others? Have you truly been there when your friends needed you, or have you simply assumed that your presence wasn't necessary? Many of us believe that if a friend doesn't ask for help, it means they don't need it. But the truth is, people don't always reach out when they're struggling. Sometimes they're too overwhelmed, too exhausted, or too afraid of being a burden. That's why being a good friend means not waiting for an invitation to step in. A real friend pays attention to the small signs when someone's energy shifts, when their laughter feels forced, when their social media goes silent, or when they start withdrawing. It's easy to be there for the big, obvious moments, birthdays, celebrations, major life events. But the test of true friendship lies in whether you're there during the quiet struggles, the moments when no one else notices that something is wrong. We live in a time where communication has never been easier, yet true connection feels harder to maintain. We send texts instead of making calls. We leave comments instead of having deep conversations. We assume that a like on social media is enough to show support. But being a good friend isn't about digital gestures, it's about physical and emotional presence. It's about picking up the phone even when it feels awkward. It's about making time even when you're busy. It's about reminding people with your actions that they matter. Think about your closest friends right now. When was the last time you checked in on them? Really checked in. Not just a quick "how are you?" in passing, but a genuine, heartfelt "how have you been lately?" What's really going on? When was the last time you made an effort to meet up, to spend time together without a reason, just because? Friendship isn't about grand, performative acts. It's built in the everyday moments, the small efforts, the little check-ins that add up over time. The difference between a friend and an acquaintance isn't history, it's presence. An acquaintance might know your story, but a true friend walks through it with you. They don't disappear when things get tough. They don't wait for an invitation to care. They show up even when it's inconvenient, even when they don't have the perfect words, because they understand that friendship isn't about having the right things to say, it's about being there, in silence if necessary, but always present. So ask yourself, are you truly present in your friendships? Or are you just assuming that your presence isn't needed? Because at the end of the day, friendships don't fade because of distance or time, they fade because we stop showing up. We often think about friendship in terms of what we get from it, who makes us laugh, who supports us, who listens when we need to vent. But the deepest, most fulfilling friendships aren't about what we receive, they're about what we give. A true friend gives without keeping score. They don't measure the relationship in terms of who called last, who texted first, or who did more favors. They give because they want to, not because they expect something in return. But too often people treat friendships like transactions where kindness is only extended when it's reciprocated. The moment a friend doesn't return a favor or match our efforts, we start pulling away. But real friendship isn't a balance sheet, it's an investment in something greater than ourselves. Think about how you show up in your friendships. Do you only reach out when you need something? Do you only celebrate your friends when it's convenient? Do you only listen when you're in the mood? Or are you someone who gives consistently even when great friendships require generosity, not just in big ways, but in everyday moments? It means celebrating your friends' successes without jealousy, even when you're struggling in your own life. It means being patient when they're distant, understanding that people go through phases where they might not be as present as before. It means forgiving easily because every friendship will face moments of miscommunication, disappointment, or conflict. One of the biggest tests of friendship is how you respond when a friend doesn't have the capacity to give back. Maybe they're going through a tough time, maybe they're overwhelmed with their own struggles, or maybe they just don't have the energy to be as present as they used to be. Do you pull away and assume they don't care? Or do you step in and offer support even if it feels one-sided for a while? Being a good friend means understanding that people have different seasons in life. There will be times when you're the one giving more, and times when you're the one receiving more. But the goal isn't to keep things even, it's to keep things real. A true friendship isn't about an equal exchange, it's about mutual understanding and commitment through all of life's ups and downs. And sometimes being a good friend means showing up even when they push you away. When someone is struggling, they might not always be able to articulate what they need. They might withdraw, isolate, or even act distant. A transactional mindset would say, if they're not making an effort, why should I? But a real friend understands that sometimes people need you the most when they seem like they don't need you at all. Friendship isn't just about feeling good, it's about being good to one another. It's about making sacrifices, about showing up even when it's inconvenient, about offering patience and grace when it would be easier to walk away. Because at the end of the day, the friendships that matter most aren't the ones that are easiest, they're the ones that withstand the tests of time, distance, and difficulty. So if you want deeper, more meaningful friendships, stop asking, what am I getting from this? And start asking, what am I giving to this? Because the friendships that truly last aren't built on what we take, they're built on what we give.